Good evening, parents. I am Dr. Henderson Rosser, the Assistant Superintendent of Instructional Technology, and I would like to welcome you to the Atlanta Public Schools Division of Academics Spring Family Community Cluster presentation. On behalf of our presenters tonight, Dr. Selena Florence, the Assistant Superintendent of Teaching and Learning, Dr. Katika Lovett, Assistant Superintendent of Student Support Services, Dr. Monique O'Brien, our Director of Research and Development, Cheryl Parker, Interim Director of After School Programs, and Dr. Shannon Hervey, Director of Student Support Services. I want to welcome you and review our agenda tonight. So we've done our welcome and our introductions. We're going to go through our APS 5. Hopefully by this time, you've heard a lot around APS 5. It is a big part of our strategic plan, and it's what we are using to improve academic outcomes for all of our students. We will also review the APS Summer Academic Recovery Plan. So what can you do to plan for summer school this summer for your scholar? We will review K-12 Universal Screeners and give you an update there on MAP and the BASC-3 BESS, as well as review our APS Parent Insights website. We'll have some time at the end, but you can also put questions in the chat. But any question that you have, please feel free to present that question at that time. Or if you have a question along the way, we will respond in the chat. And so our APS strategic plan for 2025, it really does serve as an anchor for our work. We're excited to share our collective vision for the next 5 years. Our strategic plan is titled, We Are APS, Building on Our Legacy. It's about how we come together as a community to achieve our vision of a high-performing school district where students love to learn, educators inspire, families engage, and the community trusts the system. This plan provides an intentional focus and direction as we move through the next 5 years. APS is focused on 4 key strategic priorities: fostering academic excellence for all of our scholars, building a culture of student support. You'll hear a lot of that throughout the presentation this evening. Equipping and empowering our leaders and staff, and also creating a system of support for schools. The APS 5 is our roadmap to accomplish academic excellence for all students. We're going to watch a quick video that really outlines what the APS 5 is and how it will work for your scholar.
There's no sound.
Education.
As we wait for our video to play, and it will start in just a moment. Understanding the APS 5, there are 5 evidence-based practices that we'll prioritize and implement in all APS schools. The purpose of this is to increase student outcomes and fulfill our equity commitments. The APS 5 fully aligns with our strategic plan and how we're moving forward.
What is the APS 5?
The APS-5 is our term for a specific group of methods we're using to improve results for all students.
So, how did we come up with these 5 things?
We asked ourselves, when it comes to education, what is getting in our way that we can do something about?
What is a roadblock to progress that we can define and eliminate?
Inequity was the answer.
By the way, equity is the quality of being just and fair regardless of economic, social, cultural, and human differences among and between persons.
If you hear us say equity, that's what we're talking about.
Knowing that we need to give inequity the boot, we asked ourselves some more questions.
What works really well to help students do their best? And how can we make sure we're using the stuff that works really well everywhere so we can get better faster?
The APS-5 is our list of answers to these important questions.
Atlanta, just like school systems all across the country, has pockets of greatness and examples of excellence everywhere. And now, we are focusing on 5 measurable methods we already know work great.
When everyone in every school has the same understanding of what to do and how to do it, and has the tools and support to get to work doing what they do best,
we know that's a winning formula.
This will help us do away with uneven results across schools and across groups.
It will help our teachers love what they do even more.
It will help our students love learning even more.
And it will help me
and me
and me graduate on time, ready and set for college, career, and life.
APS-5 is a winning formula indeed. And just as a quick review, we're going to go through the 5 right now. It starts off with data. We will use data to drive all instructional decisions to ensure equitable outcomes for all students. Curriculum and instruction. We want to implement a very rigorous and culturally relevant and responsive curriculum. Whole child and intervention. This is important that we implement a whole child system of support. Students should feel supported at all levels and in everything that they do. When they come to school, we will be supporting them, and it'll integrate social emotional learning, behavior, wellness, and comprehensive academic intervention plans. Personalized learning. It utilizes flexible learning tools, technology integration, and targeted instruction to personalize learning for all students. We also want to strengthen the implementation of our signature programming. You've heard about signature programming after school, whether it be students or IB. We want to make sure that students are excelling in each of those areas. Our APS Academic Recovery Plan. In response to the pandemic, APS wants to ensure our students are on track and are academically supported. The APS Academic Recovery Plan will include school-based intervention blocks in every school, summer instruction that aligns on a focus of literacy and mathematics, and we will continue to assess our students' progress with a comprehensive assessment system, which includes K-12 universal screeners, progress monitoring tools, and formative assessments every day in class. I'm going to turn it over to Cheryl Parker, our first presenter, who will now preview our summer APS program offerings.
Thank you, Dr. Henderson Rosser. Good afternoon, families. Happy St. Patrick's Day, happy Women's History Month, Arts and Education Month, and happy birthday if you're celebrating your birthday this month. I am Cheryl Parker, and I'm here to talk to you briefly about our Academic Recovery Academy, also known as Summer ARA. Next slide, thank you. Key information about Summer ARA. Our elementary and middle school dates, as well as our high school dates, are June 1st through the 30th. Our elementary and middle school students will participate in a full school day schedule. Our focus for elementary and middle is literacy and mathematics, followed by 90 minutes of extended learning activities, also known as power-up programming. All students are welcome to register. However, identified students have received individual invitations and should be strongly encouraged to attend. Accommodations and teacher support for students with disabilities and English learners will be provided. We will also integrate social and emotional learning at all 3 grade bands, elementary, middle, and high school. Students will attend summer ARA based on their current enrollment. If your student is enrolled in school in person, then he or she will attend summer ARA in person. If your student currently attends virtual school via AVA, then he or she will be permitted to attend summer ARA via AVA. Transportation will be provided for all full-day students. Once again, our high school dates are June 1st through the 30th. However, our high school students will operate, or schools will operate on a half school day schedule. So our students will be permitted to take up to 2 courses. If your student is enrolled in a course that has an end of course test, those exams will be administered June 21st through the 24th. Our academic focus for high school is credit recovery and graduation. Students who are on target to graduate during the summer will attend Wings at Phoenix Academy. Our high school students will receive direct teacher instruction and edgenuity at identified high school sites. In other words, those students will come to school in person, unless he or she is enrolled in AVA. Once again, social and emotional learning will be integrated in the schedule, as well as accommodations and teacher support for students with disabilities and English learners will be provided. And once again, transportation will also be provided. The window for registration opened on February 21st, and it will close on April 10th. Our elementary and middle school students and families should have received by now registration via Infinite Campus, a text message, as well as through school communication. Our high school registration is being facilitated by the high school counselors. Again, our high school registration is being facilitated by our high school counselors because they're auditing those transcripts and having conversations with the students as well as their families regarding credit recovery. Next slide. Thank you. Nutrition and transportation will be provided to those who are participating in summer ARA. Our students will receive a breakfast as well as lunch. And again, students who participate in full day for elementary and middle school will receive transportation as well as our high school students. Families, if you want to register your students just for Power Up, you will be responsible for transportation to and from the program site. Elementary and middle school students recommended for participation in summer ARA were identified using MAP Winter RIT scores for students in grades kindergarten and first, and the Georgia Milestone Achievement Level Predictor for students in grades 2nd through 8th. As you can see, we have 7,400 students that we are anticipating for elementary and 3,811 for those in middle school. Those numbers also include the subgroups of students with disabilities, as well as our English learners. Our high school, again, we're focusing on credit recovery, and the graph that is shown show you just a snapshot of students who are missing high school credits. These 4 classes are typical classes taken by our first year high school students. And as you can see, there are several students, hundreds of students who need to recover 9th grade Lit, Algebra 1, American Government, and Biology. If your students need to recover other credits from other courses, they're more than welcome to register. Shown on the screen are our elementary, middle, and high school sites. Once again, students who are enrolled or current AVA students will have the opportunity to participate in summer ARA as an AVA student. Our elementary schedule, our employees will arrive at 7:15, and breakfast will be served to our students by 7:45, followed by social and emotional learning, literacy, lunch, of course, math, and power up. Our literacy, math, and power up blocks are all 90 minutes. We will end our day with mindfulness and dismissal at 2:45. The middle school schedule is very similar to their schedule, the traditional school schedule. We will begin our day, our employees will arrive at 8:45, and breakfast will be served at 9:15, followed by social emotional learning, literacy or math, lunch, brain break, and literacy or mathematics, followed by power up. Once again, the literacy, math, and power up blocks are all 90 minutes. We will end our day with mindfulness and dismissal at 4:15. Our high school schedule is a half-day schedule. So again, our employees will arrive at 8:15, and breakfast will be served to our students beginning at 8:45. Again, they will have social emotional learning, course 1, lunch, course 2, and we will end our day with mindfulness and dismissal at 1 p.m. APS has always offered additional program offerings, and we will do so again in 2022. Many of you are aware of SIMC, Level Up, Fine Arts Camp, Xanadu, APIB, College Success Boot Camp, Wings at Phoenix, which is our program for those students who are on target to graduate this summer, extended school year, kinder camp, our summer transition programs, as well as our summer bridge for 6th and 9th grades. This year, our World Language Department will offer our Power Up DLI Espanol at our DLI site. So that is new this year, and we're super excited about that. At this time, I will pause to take your questions. Thank you for your time.
Good evening again, parents. We will now move on to information about our universal screener. NWEA MAP, we have some winter 2022 updates for you this evening. So if you will recall, we talked about our MAP growth assessments in our last parent community meeting. So just a few reminders about the assessment. It is part of the APS Academic Recovery Plan. MAP is also aligned to our district strategic plan. Students take MAP reading fluency in grades pre-K through 2, MAP growth for math in grades K through 12, and MAP growth for reading in grades K through 12. This serves as the first time all K through 12 students at APS have taken the same universal screener. So a timeline for MAP and our completion rates. During our fall testing window back in August 23rd through September 13th, we tested 92.5% of all APS students in MAP reading fluency, MAP growth reading, and MAP growth math. In January, we finished our second round of MAP testing, which began in November. And at that time, we tested 95% of our APS students in MAP reading fluency, MAP growth reading, and MAP growth math. We are currently in the middle of our spring testing window, which started on March 7th and will end on March 28th. So as we begin to talk about our spring MAP assessment, we wanted to let you listen to a little bit about Lila's story to hear a little bit about how she is using her MAP growth assessment.
Hi, I'm in third grade. My name is Lila. A few days ago, it was parent-teacher conferences. My mom and dad both went with me. They used to be teachers, and my dad knows all about the MAP test. They had lots of questions. They really like to ask questions. But I surprised them. Before they asked my teacher, I took them to my desk to see my MAP goal sheet. And I explained how MAP shows me what I'm good at, what I need to get better at, and how I use that to set my goals for the next time. I told him how much I like seeing my scores. He asked me why. I think he was a little bit surprised. So I asked him, Dad, remember how every year on my birthday you made a mark on the door to show how much I grew? That's how MAP works. Each time I take the test, it's like I get to make another mark on the wall. Then I set goals, then I keep growing. It was really fun to take my parents to each class and show them how much I had grown and learned. That makes me really happy. They both looked happy too.
So now as we begin to look at our MAP family reports, we want to remember three very important words as we look at the data. The RIT score is a measurement scale developed to simplify how we understand MAP test scores. The achievement percentile tells us how well a student performed in comparison to similar students. The growth percentile tells us how much a student has grown in comparison to similar students. You will see all three of these terms on the family report. Remember, we looked at this report last time. It provides a summary of key results from a given test term, a summary of all subjects tested for each student, organized by term, and it also provides the student's relative strengths and weaknesses for each assessment. This is an example of a family report for a student named Christopher. We are looking at the math section for Christopher's family report. Let's first look at Christopher's average achievement. You can see that Christopher had a RIT score of 178 in the fall of 2018. His RIT score increased by 8 points to 186 in the winter of 2018. By the fall of 2019, Christopher's RIT score has reached 201. In the fall of 2019, Christopher is also in the 47th percentile, which means he scored better than 47% of his peers. So I stated earlier that the family report makes it easy for you to see not only how your child is achieving, but also how they are growing. Now let's look at Christopher's growth percentile. The growth side of the report shows you that Christopher is in the 96th percentile in math. This means that he made more progress than 96% of his peers. The family report also includes projections that let you know how well your child will perform on future assessments like our milestones test, ACT, and SAT exams. While Christopher has shown a lot of growth this year, right now he is only on track to be basic on the state test. For your child, you might see that he or she is likely to score in the beginning, developing, proficient, or distinguished level on the milestones assessment. You should see these same two components for every assessment that your child took for both reading and math. So how can you use your child's winter 2022 MAP scores? One way you can use this assessment and the scores your child received is by goal setting. You can talk to your child about several different questions that we have listed here. What do you notice about your MAP scores? You might ask, Why do you think you scored higher or lower this time? Does this graph match what you know about your ability in specific learning areas? What is your goal for the spring map assessment? What will you do to reach your goal? And as a parent, how can I help you to reach your goal? These are just a few ways you may talk to your child about student goal setting using their MAP scores. There's also a section of the family report that includes questions that you might ask your child's principal or teacher. On the left-hand side, you see, how can I use this information to help my child? On the right-hand side, you see more information, a place where you can get more information from the NWEA site. You could use these questions in a parent-teacher conference, in a phone call with your principal, or just to help you better understand how you might best support your child at home. So how are we as a district using winter 2022 MAP scores? We are using this data to inform instruction in the classroom, to determine what teachers teach, also to personalize learning for students and to make sure they are receiving instruction at their own specific level, to monitor the growth of individual students to see how they are progressing from the beginning of the year to the end of the year, to plan for intervention that all schools have every single day, to see the performance and progress of a grade level school or the entire district. I will now turn it over to Dr. Katika Lovick for our Universal Screener for Behavior.
All right, good evening, parents and community members. We are excited to come back to you tonight to talk more about our Universal Social, Emotional, and Behavior Screener, better known as the BASC-3 BESS. Next slide, please. So here we have our executive summary. You may recall that in our previous meetings, we talked about the introduction to the BASC-3 or the BESS. Here we have summarized the information that we have put together from the fall administration. I'll go through a few of the points at this time. District staff partnered with West Ed to comprise an early warning system and the response protocol guidance. 21 staff from student-supported intervention, special education, and social emotional learning were trained as Review 360 trainers. Principals, school counselors, and social workers participated in an in-service on the BASC-3 BESS, the early warning system, and the response protocol. 225 school screener ambassadors from all schools and school programs were trained on Review 360. 2,092 teachers provided screener information on 28,734 students, and that's across all grade levels, which gave us a response rate of about 79%, and 21,198 students in grades 3 through 12, or 76%, completed the student self-report assessment. Finally, parents completed the parent form for 3,053 students across all grade levels. Here we have the BASC-3 BESS response protocol. And as you can see, the response protocol walks us through from day 1 to day 15. I'll highlight a few of those points at this time. Beginning with day 1, we administer the screener. You'll see here Universal Social Emotional Behavior Screener is administered. On day 2, the school screener ambassadors review the screener reports, and they identify students who are noted as elevated or extremely elevated. They provide those names to the school-based student support member staff, student staff members for screening, for brief intervention, and for a referral to next steps. Here you'll see the next steps starting at day 2 and 3. A school-based student support staff member utilizes what's called a student chat form and that student report to meet directly with the student. It's important for us that we confirm the risk and we understand, is there a further need for support? Along that same time, the staff member contacts the parent or the guardian via phone or in meeting, virtual or in person, to discuss the risks that were identified and to discuss recommendations for the most appropriate actions to support our students. Again, it's important. We want to make sure that you understand the first thing that we do after administering and receiving those reports is that we meet with students first to confirm that risk. We get our staff members on board, and then finally, we meet with the student support staff members and have that meeting with parents. On day 7, if the need for support and or safety interventions is confirmed, the student's name may be added to our care team. And our care team are individuals such as the school social worker, the psychologist, the counselor, administrators, and other school-based staff. The care team meets for continued discussion and integrated student support case management. Day 15. On day 15, our school teams review student level data and finalize decisions about the provision of student-specific reports. And you'll see beyond day 15, we continue the process through ongoing support and monitoring of our students. So how can parents support this effort? This is critically important. As I shared, part of that response protocol is engaging parents to ensure that we can talk about the best interventions to support our students. Here, the first thing we've listed is two-way communication. We ask that you're open to communicating with your student's school about teacher or parent concerns. The next bullet here is teamwork. We're asking to work in conjunction with your student's school to provide insight and your recommendations for how your child can best be supported in school. Starting point. We're asking you to use the screener outcome as a starting point to engage in a conversation with your child. And finally, partnership. Providing updates to your student's school on how the child is responding to the recommended strategies and interventions. Here you see the BASC-3 BESS Spring Administration timeline, and we have finished that window. It did open on 2/15, February the 15th, and the window closed shortly after March the 1st. So currently our school-based staff are confirming risk. They are reaching out to parents regarding the risk and the screener outcome reports, and the BASC-3 BESS reports and the explanation letters are being disseminated from schools to parents at this time. Okay, it has been my pleasure sharing information regarding our BASC-3 BESS. I will pause at this time for any questions that you have. Okay, thank you. We'll move on to our next topic.
Good evening, families. Are you interested in learning more about Atlanta Public Schools data? APS Insights is the data website for Atlanta Public Schools. To access APS Insights, please go to www.apsinsights.org. Next slide. On our website, we offer two types of data: blogs and school profiles. Blog posts are created as data are released by the Georgia Department of Education. In addition, we have school profile data on APS Insights. On the school profiles, you can find information on your school and compare your school to another school in the state. Information about your school, such as student achievement, school climate, student population, as well as access to the school website are available. Next slide. To access the school profiles, again, you would go to www.apsinsights.org, click on this blue box that says School Profiles. You can select your grade level and your school from the drop-down menus. And from there, you can learn something new about your school. Next slide. In addition to our school profiles, on that main page in the upper right-hand corner, you can also access our blogs. Next slide. Our blog posts include information such as APS enrollment data across the past 27 years, as well as information about our 2021 graduates. To access our blogs on a regular basis, please subscribe to our website. To subscribe to our website, please click the subscribe button in the right-hand side of the page. Once there, you will be asked to enter your email address to receive notifications for new blog posts, such as our upcoming MAP dashboard blog. Next slide. At this time, I will pause for questions.
Parents, we thank you for joining us this evening. We hope you found the information to be helpful and informative to you. We hope you have a great evening. As always, this video will be posted in our YouTube channel if you want to go back and watch it and find some answers to some of the questions you may have. Thank you and have a great